Hello and welcome to a spoiler cast on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I'm Will, and with me is Milk. He's here.
You're not going to get rid of me.
No.
I'm stuck now.
This is it. Anytime we talk about things with hats, anytime we talk about things that I don't understand,
I'll be here.
It's going to be here.
Yeah.
We are both Indiana Jones fans.
Massive.
For forever and always. And we want to talk about Indy with you today. We'll do a little bit of spoiler-free up top in the movie, but before we get to the movie, I don't think I've ever talked about Indy that much on a public thing, so I thought we'd talk about, and you haven't been on here for anything, so...
Nothing, no. I did a PAX panel and that was it.
That's true. You have been initiated, but now this is the first recorded bit. I thought we'd talk about a little bit of like our favourites and our history with the Indiana Jones franchise.
Hell yeah.
To get people up to speed. When did you get introduced to Indy?
I think I must have been a toddler. Because it was a VHS copy, obviously.
Yep.
Recorded off like Channel 7 or something.
Yeah.
Because the real deal, too expensive.
Yep.
And I can't even remember which one it was. Yep. But I just remember being told, oh no, it was Raiders. Of course it was Raiders.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And I just remember being told, hey, you can't watch this part. And it was obviously the Ark being opened.
Yep.
Which I'd seen much worse at that point.
Yeah.
Like my parents did not care what I was watching.
Mm-hmm. I think we had a similar upbringing because I remember like I'd watch Jaws and all that, and then we watched like Terminator 1 and Arnie said fuck and Mum's like, you can't watch it. I'm like, really? This mother? I think it was similar. I can't work out if I am blending memories of what happened in America or if it did happen in Australia, but I swear my first one was Crusade, and it was the VHSs from like McDonald's, but I don't know if they happened here.
You mean like this one that I have conveniently right here?
There it is. That's the one. That's what I had. So did they happen in Australia as well?
Yeah, it's got our rating on it. It says PG. I'm assuming so. I picked this up at like the Green Shed for like $1.50.
Jesus Christ. Amazing.
Nobody wants VHSs. I don't know why.
No, weird. Not all of us have a whole setup devoted to a VHS.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I think Crusade was my first one, and I think it was off the back of like, I'd watched the Star Wars trilogy, and then was like, I need to watch
You got to go into it, yeah.
Yeah, and fell in love with it. Crusade is still my favorite. I don't think it ever will change, but
it is the best one. Like, there's no denying that.
Mm-hmm.
It's Spielberg at his peak.
Yeah.
And
like, you can give credit. Raiders is a prettier movie. Like, there's definitely nicer shots in it, but as a package deal, The Last
Crusade is just the best one.
Is that your one too?
No, I think my favorite is Raiders. It's the one I watched the most. It's the one I've quoted the most.
Yeah.
Like, there has not been a day that's gone by without me thinking, it's a date, you eat 'em.
Yeah.
Or like
just line.
Or just Salar's conversation with him in Cairo. It's like, not a brain among them except for one, a Frenchman. They call him Bouloche. It's like, just so many great deliveries that I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's a wonderful film. All of them are, maybe. What is your thoughts on Crystal Skull?
I rewatched it for like maybe the 5th time in my life recently.
Yeah.
A lot of readjustment, like a lot of, this is George Lucas's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
This is not Stevens. It's like Temple of Doom. This is not Stevens' movie.
Yes.
This is George Lucas going, I want there to be a little ant that bites a guy, and he it kills him. And Steven going, okay, George.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, because like I think I genuinely only watched it the one time in 2008. Either in the cinema or at home, I don't know. I can't remember. But I definitely had only seen it once before this year. And then I watched it and I was like, that's not bad. It's
like especially that first part.
Yes.
Everything set in the States is great. I actually really love Mutt and Indy's dynamic.
Yeah.
Like that the milk bar fight is peak. I love that.
Yeah. It's because I think as a kid I thought it was too aping, Crusade, but I think it's totally its own dynamic because like Henry as a character or Indy as a character is like I can't be my dad, but you can see him slipping.
Exactly, he's like slipping into it. Yeah,
which is cool.
It's also just really funny to think that even as kids, we were like, this movie sucks. I don't like it. And it's like, this is the first time I got to see Indiana Jones in a cinematic experience.
Yeah.
And somehow I was like, this sucks. It's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was made for us. It's like the prequels for people before us. It should have been our thing. And even then, we were like, no, it's not for us. But we eventually got another go in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which came out a couple of weeks ago now. Spoiler free, because very clearly some of you haven't done your homework and some of you aren't going to see it.
You need to see it. I'll just say it. You need to see it.
You see it.
I won't accept otherwise.
No. Please give it your eyes. It's just nice. It's a blockbuster that isn't shit. So, just go see it.
It's so good.
It's very fun. I think at a spoiler free level, I think the thing that I love so much about it is that it is like, it's such a strangely cool thing that it feels like an indie film made now and doesn't feel like a Spielberg movie. And I know that's a complaint for a lot of people, but the fact that it doesn't try to be really is what I think makes it good.
It's completely its own vision.
Yeah.
Like, well, I wouldn't say it's its own vision. Like, there's clearly stuff going on behind the scenes where it's like, you gotta do this.
Do the thing. Yep.
But it's so good. It's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, obviously, it would never have lived up to the originals. Like, never.
Yeah.
Not even Crystal Skull lived up to the originals, and it's the same team.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just got to go in, know that, like, you're getting an Indiana Jones movie. You're going to see Harrison Ford doing his best.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you'll have a great time.
Absolutely. Be open to the choices they make in the movie as well, and just stay on the ride with them till the end.
Yeah.
I think that's important too.
That, especially the end. You got to stay on for the end, because that's where I think it really pays off.
Yeah. I think we've both seen it twice now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, I've seen it 3 times. One time, I won't say how I watched it.
Oh. we need to do our research, so, as many times as you need to see it. But I definitely think that a second watch also benefits. I think, as with everything, I think, going in with no expectations now, you know what it is.
Once you know the story beats,
it's easier to follow along and have a good time. But
you're not sitting there waiting for like them. I remember that.
Yeah,
like
yeah. You're just in it for the ride, and so please go see it if you haven't already seen it. We'll talk full spoilers now, so go get your eyes across it.
Yeah.
How'd you feel with the big bold opening sequence with young Indy?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't a deepfake.
Yeah.
I wish we had. It's so funny to see this movie not doing well because they did what everybody wanted from Solo.
Yeah, totally,
they did a deepfake Harrison Ford.
Yeah. And
sometimes it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, as somebody who knows way too much about deepfake technology and has like done it themselves, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
And it's going to make leaps and bounds in the next like 5 years. Like, compare what we see in this to what we saw in like the Mando final.
Yeah, totally.
Huge leaps and bounds already.
Yeah.
It still doesn't look good.
It's hard, and it's like, it's because, I fucking love Solo, so I even if it was just Olden again, I would have been like,
that would have been so funny. That would have been so funny to open your movie on Alden Ehrenreich after everything.
A big middle finger to everyone.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a much like another blockbuster movie. It's a moral intrigue of like, I think it's great that it is him. Because we love Harrison Ford and we want him in it, and it's not doing any kind of grey area of like, well, he said we could do it, so we revoiced it and did all that. So it's like, I've heard a lot of people complain that the old voice comes out of the young man, but I'm kind of like, I like that it's still him.
I did hear that the first time. Where, like, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's actually him.
Yeah.
They didn't, like, do anything.
Yeah.
But, like, you so easily forget because it's still Harrison Ford.
Totally. And I have seen a few people say that the reason that he gets hung up so quickly is so that he's been choked, so that his voice sounds different for the rest of it, which is very funny.
Great way to open your brand new Indiana Jones movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Straight into World War II Germany, we're hanging Indy.
Yeah, straight in.
Like...
Yeah. I like, because I think I agree. It would have, and especially because the franchise set it up. You had River Phoenix doing it in Crusade, so it would have been nice to have given a similar thing to another young actor to bring into
for sure.
life. But
I think the other reason they didn't do it, honestly, is we know that Harrison Ford, like, that face so well. Mm-hmm. It's not like Han Solo where he's still like, you can fudge it a bit.
Yeah.
Like, that's
indie.
Yeah.
Totally. And like, the sequence was pretty cool. I think on first watch, I enjoyed it all. And second one, I think you mentioned in your notes, there's a few janky bits of CG in there.
Yeah. There's a shot of him running on top of the train where it honestly looks like it could have been like stop motion.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It's like bouncing along.
Yeah, which is very strange because, like, the cycle fight and everything was really like very Spielberg, very very hand to hand.
Knowing the cycle fight was real really helped it because those photos of the stunt double.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, so they actually were like doing that. That wasn't Disney magic.
Yeah. But again, there's so much of these modern blockbusters. Shoot it with a bit of light, man, and a little bit further back so I can see what's going on.
That's my only real issue with the intro, is it's all nighttime. And I guess that was like a sequential thing because they're like, we need air raids.
Yeah. And to hide any of the deep faking stuff, I guess.
Yeah, to hide Harrison's face,
Yeah. But a cool opening, and like, I was thinking about it, it's totally that thing of, if we had two other movies in the 90s, like, was kind of a possibility, they wouldn't have opened it this way because we would have had our feel of young Indy.
Yeah.
So it's nice that, like, they're like, this is the last time you'll see him, so here's just a bit of that action that we'll never get to see again. So
yeah, it was nice to see that World War II Indy we heard about.
Yeah, totally.
In, like, Kingdom, where it's like, he did missions for us. We trust him. You gotta.
Yeah. That's right.
He's not a commie.
There was a lot of weird world building in that movie. But really fun, and especially considering the rest of the film is about him getting back to that point. It was cool to open at that high. What did you
it also, like, sets up all the key points. You've got Mads. You've got, like, Helena's dad. You've got like the fake artifacts, the dial. Like, it's all there. It sets it up
totally, and it's a clever thing to open it that way because narratively you assume we will get back there with the time travel thing because we'd already seen it. I still, I know that they've said the script's always been the way it is. I still believe when that Nazi comes through the fog, I'm like, that was old Indy at some point, right?
Oh, it had to have been. Dude, those leaks were so funny. I just want to talk about that. Please, I love those leaks because the idea of Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character taking the dial and then just erasing Indy from history so he has a happy life.
Yeah.
And then us having to watch Raiders, Temple, and Crusade.
With her in it.
But with her. Funniest idea. That would have cost so much money to shoot. That would have... It's insane.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that world. I would love to visit it.
Yeah. It is so interesting, all those leaks. Like, thank goodness they didn't happen, but it was a fun time.
that would have started the next big culture war.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the funniest thing about this movie. No one's seeing it, so no one's pissed. It's it's great. Quietly fun.
I can just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's nice.
I don't have to see, like, 5, like, paragraph long Twitter post telling me why I shouldn't like a movie I like.
Yeah. Leave me alone. Let me like it.
Yeah.
I still like Rise of Skywalker. Leave me alone. I don't know if I like it. I like it less every time I watched it, but I liked it the first time. Then we cut to Indy in present day at this point.
Beautiful transition.
So good.
I love that cut so much of, like, young Harrison Ford to, he's sleeping on a recliner.
Yeah, totally. He's totally conked out. I like, it's so funny because I think people forget how separate things actually are, because of course the way Indy is set up in this is very, of course, similar to Luke Skywalker and a lot of legacy characters.
Jaded old man
that doesn't want to do the thing anymore. But I'm like, that's just because you've seen it before. If this was the first time you saw it with Indy, you wouldn't have a problem with it because
there wouldn't be this precognitive, like, I don't like this thing.
Totally, because it's a great setup for the dude. Like,
it makes sense for him so well. Dude's seen some shit, he would be jaded.
He'd be tired.
I just want to go home.
Yeah, and I quite liked that the Marion separation thing. I like that it.
Yeah,
there was ties to Skull. Like, I was happy they didn't just forget about that movie.
There is some funny stuff relating to that, though.
Yeah,
like, incredibly funny stuff. Oh, just the entire we've written off Mutt, but in we have to work him in somehow.
Yeah, so
that's Indy's key.
That's his depression is
great.
Getting rid of Shia LaBeouf. I quite liked it. And look, as a Beatles fan, it was very exciting to hear Beatles in the Indiana Jones movie. I was like, hell yeah.
The music they use when they're in New York, all the period piece stuff, great choices. You got Bowie, you got Beatles, you got everything you could want.
Yeah.
I just wish they played more into the fact it is astronaut day. That feel Harrison Indy not knowing makes sense.
Yeah.
But I wish there was more play into that. I feel like he would have been involved somehow.
Yeah. Well, it's strange because I think I knew that was the setup going in, but I forgot about it. It wasn't until the second time that I was like, oh, they're in the car. That's
them in the car. Yeah.
They just kind of, it's not like the Hitler moment. It's just, they just cross by.
They're just there.
Yeah, totally. It would have been nice. I mean, we might as well talk about what the actual biggest complaint is of this film, is that it just speeds past anything that could be really, really good.
Yeah, 100%.
It sets up so many awesome emotional beats and story beats, and then just kind of goes, look over there. And it's like, oh, come on, man. Let us sit
It's like an episode of the Eric Andre show. It's always distracting you from what you want to be focusing on.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. It just it doesn't quite let you sit on these things. Like Indy's, separation. It kind of leaves the frame once
you forget about it. You completely forget about it.
It's like, I'm going to be framed for murder. That kind of is gone.
That's gone. There's the fact that the stuff with Antonio Banderas' character, where it's what's going on here?
Yeah, and he's dead.
And he's dead. Yeah.
There's that is I think. Upon additional rewatches again, I think those things feel less jarring because you know
they're coming. Yeah,
they're coming, and as nerds, we like to create our fiction around them. So I feel like slowly but surely, upon rewatch, we make those moments bigger than they probably are in the movie, just due to our own speculation and stuff. But on first watch, I definitely felt like I was being pulled a bit left and right between character beats and stuff. But
yeah. I will say, on Antonio Banderas, I was half expecting it to be Jacques. Because, I know a guy who owns a boat and a plane.
Yeah.
It's I was expecting, the beautiful return.
That would have been...
one scene only Jacques, owner of famous tiki bar in Disneyland.
Yeah, that's right. I thought either him or the guy that owned the boat in Raiders as well, the captain.
Yeah.
I was
Captain
expecting...
Tanaka, or what? No,
that's James Bond, I think.
That's the dude who... Captain Panaka's the dude from Phantom Menace.
That's right, yeah. There's a lot of captains in Lucas and Spielberg lore. But yeah, I was kind of expecting an actual callback. But at the same time, he was so warm that it was like, oh, I know that you've had a relationship just through the warmth of your character. But
it's Antonio Banderas. You can't not love him as soon as he's there.
Yeah.
It was just
let's put some boots.
Yeah, it's Puss in Boots.
Let's put some boots.
That's Spy Kids. That's Spy Kids' dad.
That's true. There's a lot for us. Our generation, he was a hero. We get introduced to Helena after Indy gives the graduation clock to a homeless guy.
Yeah, they never bring up the fact he's retiring either. Yeah. It just happens.
That's another one. That's another one that gets away for sure. That was funny seeing it with one of my mates. They were like, when do I go to the bathroom? And it was coming up to that scene, and I was like, I guess it's kind of set up, but it also goes nowhere. So I was like, you can go.
Just go now.
So they missed him. It was like he was in home, and then he was in the bar, and I was kind of like, yeah. You didn't miss anything there.
No, it lines up. He seems like a depressed dad. He's just gone to the bar.
He's gonna go have a drink. I did love the classroom scene as well, like a good parallel.
It's a great parallel, and it's such a great comparison as well because of how disinterested those kids are compared to Raiders and Crusade, where they're invigorated to learn.
Totally. I mean, bullshit. If Harrison Ford was your professor, you'd be listening.
That speech he gives on the battle with Archimedes and stuff. It's I'm interested. Keep going.
Totally.
Tell me more.
These kids are fucking dumb. But I like that because I mean it is one of my favorite things in all the films is getting unknowingly getting the context for the third act in. It's always great. It's always very clever. But yeah, Helena, who is Toby Jones's character's kid, not that I want another deep fake in that opening, but it should have just been Marcus's something, really. Yeah. Yeah. It's very strange that they were like, oh, there's a third guy. Or what was the guy in Crystal Skull? Jim Broadbent. Could have been a Jim Broadbent.
That would have made more sense because they were like he talks about like the constant double crossing and all the missions they did together.
Yeah.
That would have made so much more sense.
But he went with another new character. I thought it was weird because I think like leak wise, I think that was another thing. Everyone was like, oh, she's Marcus's goddaughter or something.
Yeah, it would have made sense as well.
Yeah, like more ties for us, but that's fine. New characters all around, and I really think she was great. I think she toes the line between one of those characters that the internet loves to hate, and they love to hate them for the wrong reasons. But still, there's ways that you can write characters poorly that can come off the way they do. But I think she really toes the line in a brilliant way. I saw someone say that she's kind of like she's the headstrong nature of Marion. She's the kind of loud nature of Willie, and then the double crossing of
what's his name?
My favorite movie. And I quite like that. I like the idea that she's bringing together all the previous companions of Indy.
I really thought of her as like, oh, this is like Temple of Doom Indy before he like got on that plane. It's very much like this is Fortune and Glory. This is what Fortune and Glory does to you.
It's James Bond Indy. Yeah. That's a great point. It totally is. The before he has his life lessons of Temple. That's such a great point. I think she's really good. I do think there's maybe one or two moments that they could have given back to Indy that she maybe takes, which it wasn't a problem because I think the character's awesome. But again, a little bit of sequel trilogy-ness of like, oh, the legacy character's just kind of in the corner for a little bit.
That's one of my only complaints is there's a lot of, this is a legacy sequel stuff. Yeah. Like in the music, in like some of the way that stuff plays out, like there's a lot of vehicle chases in this. Like a lot. And it's very much like hey, we know Indiana Jones has car chases. We're going to pump those in.
There'll be a few more. There was some downbeats where I was like, oh, here comes some story, and then someone gets kidnapped. You're like, all right, here we go. But
yeah, Helena, great. I really love Phoebe Waller-Bridge in this. Totally. Like, she's an arsehole. She's meant to be most of the time. And that's great.
That is such a good point. Some people don't get that characters are sometimes mean, and that's not like a problem. That's just what they are.
Yeah, it's a story, and not everybody has to play nice.
Totally. And she gets a redemption by the end, and there is definitely... I'm sure there was rumblings. Those rumblings have probably gone away of spin-off plans, but...
those rumblings are very dead in the water financially, at least.
I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. No. But I mean, speaking of legacy as well, we get basically one of two other cameos of Sulla.
My favorite man.
Your favorite man?
Yeah. I'm at a pier sending you off. I want adventure. You can't come. You got to stay here.
You got to stay home. And to be fair, I don't think he would have done too well if just take got in.
He would have like fallen off the tuk-tuk and just been gone.
Yeah.
Like we would never see him again.
That would have been pretty funny if instantly he fell out of the adventure.
Oh man, that would have been really sad. He'd have to Indy would have to go to his apartment and explain I lost Sulla.
I'm sorry. But then it cuts to him just having a great time on his own.
Yeah.
I love his introduction in this. It's silly, great. But it's the perfect Sulla.
It so makes sense. Like New York cab driver, immigrant cab driver in the fuck. I don't remember when this is set. Like the
69, 70s? I guess. Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah. It's a wonderful moment. I love that he's like, this is the man that brought our family across. I'm like, oh, this is all very sweet.
Yeah, very, very nice world building.
Totally. And maybe it's wild that they're all together, but also it's where Indy lives, so why wouldn't they all be chilling together? Yeah. I love Sulla's moment in this. I think that the give him hell and then the car was the biggest cheer in our audience, and I saw it, so it's very fun.
When I saw it opening day, 10:30 in the morning.
Yep.
I might have been the youngest person in there.
Yeah, of course.
It was full of like older people.
Yep.
So not a lot of hooting and hollering.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tennis chuckling.
Yeah. Tennis chuckling's good. I mean, lucky the film festival one was like 80% people that were just there to have a good time, and then the other ones were there for fucking awards that I didn't know about. I think a little nitpick. I didn't love the plane sequences in this. It's weird that the probably models of the old films look better than the CG in these ones. It's very jarring when it was just these.
Well, I messaged you when I was watching it. I was like, oh, this is Solo.
Yeah, totally.
Like it looked way too much like the Kessel Run at points. So I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I didn't vibe with it, but you know, it's modern filmmaking. They could have just done models, man.
They could have. I do have friends who have pointed out how inaccurate the planes are to the era they're in, which is, awesome.
Yeah, sick. I mean, my dad got excited at the end. We'll get there, but the time travel bit, he was like, "That's the right plane." I'm like, "All right."
Yeah. Oh, I love that ending so much. It feels like a weird, like, big finish Doctor Who ending.
Totally.
I love it.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, I guess there's not too much other than that to really get into. But get
all we've really missed it. We've really missed is like the tuk-tuk chase through. It was, I think, Morocco and like
Tangier. I know Tangier.
There's the stuff with Antonio Banderas with the diving for the pieces. And then it's straight to final act where doing Nazi time travel.
Yeah.
Not even really time travel though.
No.
If we talk about it, it's all precedented events. Like it was planned for.
Yeah. Which I think is all like I love that it's not. I love that it's not maths or science. Like it's still fantasy in the way that all the previous films were. Everything's weird. It's not actually like it seems like it's going to be very mathematical and like we made a time machine.
Because Mads keeps saying it's all math and science.
Yeah.
He's like adamant, like there is no magic in this world.
Yeah.
It is math.
Sorry, bud. That was awesome. I love, like, I was talking to a friend, like, they were kind of like, I would have loved more, like, talk of the fissures earlier on and what they were. And I'm like, but the best thing about this movie is that at no point do you think we're going there. Like,
no.
Like, I mean, there's something has to happen, but the whole film you're like, well, they're not going to time. That'd be stupid. That won't happen. And then
100%, you're not expecting it to happen because Indy normally stops it before it gets to that point.
Yeah. But they give him a little shot in the chest, and so he
can't do anything.
Yeah. He's out of action. I mean, that was also very funny. This film has, again, who knows? But there's so many movies in this moments in this movie where I'm like, I wonder, like that shot in the chest. I'm like, that feels like we're gonna time travel back and make that not happen. Like, there feels like at some point there was a bit more looping and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially with that like moment on the boat between Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Harrison Ford, where she's like, if you could time travel anywhere, where would you go? And he gives like. He tells us where Mutt went.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's like scene.
Yeah, and it's like, fuck.
That like I remember seeing some tweets out of probably the film festival that were like, oh, like this could be, he might get nominated for a best actor or something. I'm like,
no,
probably not. It's a very good moment. Yeah. But
that would. At most, it would get like the Flash entering the Speed Force kind of Oscar, this was a cool Twitter moment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we'll all vote for it. All 7 of us that have seen it. Yeah, but yeah, totally. It definitely felt like there was moments that were set up to like, and that's why I was like, maybe the leaked ending is right. Maybe they are going to just time travel.
I was sitting there the entire time just going, please, maybe be real. I want to live in this world. I want to see this.
The madness of it. But I loved the time travel. I love that the dial is just a compass. It's really all it is. Compass.
Yeah. And it's great because it's like, it's not a full continuity loop or whatever the term is. Yeah. It's enough of like a self-enclosed deal that like, oh, so this is what set up this, and this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fun.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like it like I say, you don't think it's going to happen. And the slow drip feed of like, Indy, this has got propellers. There's a watch. There's this. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. it's
that shot of like Archimedes walking up on the beach, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, all right.
Got the watch. She's seen the propellers. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And like I quite liked all that stuff. Like as much as it does feel like a Mangold film, that sequence feels the most Spielberg. Like it feels the most like, oh, this is probably how he would have done this.
The shot of them well, not the real. It's not a real shot. It's a CG shot, but the shot of them flying over Greece, and it's a Nazi warbird flying over like Greece, and they're throwing massive spears at it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's so
I love
fun.
how stupid it is.
Yeah, it's so silly and so comical. The ones that just keep missing Indy.
Yeah.
Like, either side of his head is just spears.
It's great.
It's very fun, and I think for the most part people are accepting it and having a good fun with it as well.
Yeah.
Like, because it definitely does. It feels like a moment. It feels like the father years in Last Jedi, where it's like, this could be the moment you fuck it up and people will tap
100%.
out. But I think they kept the magic of Indy in that moment. The punch is of course the actual moment that that people probably lose on. I've seen it with my dad and 2 other friends, and all of them, when it hits, they just laugh and go, "That's so good."
I love it.
Yeah,
especially because it's like that beautiful, like Brett Burt, like ILM, like real solid kind of man.
Yeah, and because it is just like, where else does this movie go now? Like, it needs to end, so let's do it this way.
It would have been so funny to also just get a shot of like Indy just living a happy life in Greece as well, though.
Yeah.
Like,
it's such an interesting, like, because people kind of, the thing that because I loved it from the off, but someone brought up, they're like, well, the only thing that could happen there is the Last Crusade again, and that would be boring. Like, for her to go, like, no, you need to let it go, and he's like, yeah, actually, I do. And it's like, okay. Well,
yeah, she had to clock him one. He wasn't leaving. He was happy to bleed out on that beach.
Yeah, totally. Which it was such a beautiful Harrison Ford moment. Like, we haven't really talked about it, but he is just in this movie. Like,
100%.
He is living the character.
I said it in like my Letterboxd review of it. Like, I think this might be his best performance since like. The 80s.
It's like Fugitive and Witness and stuff. It's like,
I love this so much because he's so fun in it. He cares so much about this character, and it shows in every beat. It's great.
Totally. I mean, like, and I think it's because we've been recently getting a lot more fun Harrison Ford and Shrinking and stuff. But, like the Beethoven's Fifth moment in the ear is just like, this might be my favorite movie. This is just very sweet. He's having so much fun, and I'm so glad that he got to do this. I don't know. I'd love to know what he feels about Crystal Skull. Like, I'm sure he's briefly mentioned it in things.
I feel like that's one he enjoyed making. Yeah. More than he enjoyed doing.
Yeah, the end process.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, I haven't watched that as well. Like, he turns in a good performance, but this and because the whole film kind of does this feels the most like an actual character than not just like like the stereotype of Indiana Jones. It's like, this is a real person now.
This is a guy who's been dealing with shit. And I think the most pivotal moment in that is him literally getting back on the saddle in New York. Like, that's him accepting, like, okay, I guess I'm involved in this again.
Yeah. Oh, God, that moment is so good. It's interesting because Mangold's kind of talked about it, like the way the score works. The theme is in the opening and then isn't there for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, do you think, because I haven't watched it, like, the second time, I really love that the theme doesn't come back till he, like, whirs up the tuk-tuk for, like, the second time. And it's like, dun, 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 and it's like, fuck yeah. But do you reckon it maybe should have gone in the horse?
I would have loved it on the horse,
Yeah.
But I completely understand waiting till the tuk-tuk because that's the first big actions, like, not action set piece. The first real big one is the New York chase. But, like, that's the Indy is back, baby.
Yeah. Oh,
get used to it.
It feels so good as well. Like, but I think, you know, we should just briefly talk the action sequences.
Yeah,
it's true that a lot of people are saying that none of them overly stand out as like the bike chase in Crusade or the tank chase.
Yeah, they're absolutely not Spielberg action. Yeah, and I'm fine with that. It's Mangold action.
Yeah,
I've said it to multiple people. Mangold gets it. Like, he clearly gets Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
and when he gets it, he really gets it. But there's just some times where it's like you could have done a bit more.
Yeah, and I think it's the beauty of this film as a whole package is great, but it's breaking it down in its parts. Maybe it's not great.
It's when you nitpick it, you're like, oh, okay,
yeah,
this is where it doesn't line up.
But there's this moment. It's like one of my favorite. Like both times I've seen it, my favorite moment is the. Basically, from the whip crack in the casino to the dial rolling along the table.
Yeah, I love that casino segment so much.
It's so cool.
I think I mainly love it because of the poster you did.
Yeah, good.
And I still think of that like sketch you sent me.
Yeah, fucking hell. I'm gonna put it on screen now for people watching at home.
I love that so much.
I'll get you a print. I'll give it to you at some point, just a full A3.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful sequence because it's very much an Indiana Jones segment where Indy's like. He's not there mentally. Like he's just going through the steps of being Indiana Jones, and I think that's why they choose the tuk-tuk scene. It's like, oh no, he's like clocked in now.
Now he's as soon as the whip's cracked, he's like, actually, I'm back. I'm in there. And of course that scene has our favorite line of the whole film, I think.
You guys never should have been I love that. Never should have entered Poland.
It's so good.
It's out of nowhere, and it's great.
Yeah, it's so out of nowhere. It's so directly historical.
It's like, oh yeah, he hates you guys.
Yeah, and I mean all the lines in this film of Indy just Voller has a little funny line. Is like, "You're German, Voller. You shouldn't be funny."
Yeah. Him and Mads' dynamic is great.
Yeah,
because it's just a guy who hates a Nazi and a Nazi who is one.
Who just really is a Nazi. Yeah, totally.
Like that's one of my. I think Mads' performance is slept on, obviously, because he's hardly in it.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Yeah,
and whenever he is, he's like in a hat. He's like, I put it in my satchel. I'm running away.
Yeah. He's a very cheeky guy in this movie.
Yeah, but I love that moment with him in the New York apartment where he's like, "Are you enjoying the day?"
Yeah,
he's good. Don't.
Yeah. Fucking hell, that's so true because, Belloc and stuff gets a lot more screen time, but I think in the very little time he has those character beats that are like, oh, you suck.
Yeah.
You're evil.
You really suck. You're like not comic book Nazi, you're like Nazi and should be executed.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And like I kind of say with Harrison, I think that the people in this are a lot more people, and so they the Nazis feel more intimidating possibly than they have before.
Speaking of that, though, I love his cronies so much. Like, you've got... you always forget his name. I feel like an ass doing this.
Yeah.
I had to look it up.
He's got a great name as well.
Yeah, it's the dude with the mustache.
Yeah.
Boyd Holbrook?
That's the one. Boyd. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Fucking sick name.
Because he was in Logan as well. He was one of the...
Yes. He was...
The mechanics. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the dude. He was great. I loved the little trappings of these guys are all going back in time at some point. Like the fact he's learning German in that.
There's so many there are a lot of hints as to what is going to happen.
Yeah.
You've got them learning the German. You've got them prepping for everything.
Yeah, they got the dragon in the puppet show and stuff like that.
Yeah. The dragon in the puppet show is genius because that's one of my favorite lines. They have dragons.
Yeah. It's so clever, man. That's why I think repeat viewings for people that didn't quite enjoy it, maybe their first time, you're going to get a lot more out of it the second time around.
Yeah.
Because there's some good Spielbergian setups and payoffs all through it as well.
Nothing prestige level, but there's stuff in there.
There's some fun stuff. What did you think of? And I can't remember the kid's name, but Helena's,
the short round.
Yeah, Helena's short round.
As somebody who loved short round a bit and wanted to be short round until I was 12.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
It just wasn't there.
It's a strange. He's such a strange character in the grand scheme of it because I get it. I get that you're doing short round.
It's funny. She has her own short round.
Yeah,
it's cool, but it's not hitting the same because there isn't that. No. He doesn't actually seem to like her, and I think that's the thing. He seems like he's just there because she gives him money.
Yeah. there's not the adoration that Shorty had for Indy. Like the scene where they're sitting on the steps and he's just lecturing her. It doesn't feel like someone that's like, you know, trying to help their friend. It's just feels like a kid that's like, what's going on, man?
It's like, how am I here? I'm here by accident.
Yeah.
They do set up his plane stuff though, which is really funny. Like he's outside the casino, like having some random guy teach him how to fly a plane.
It's very strange.
Like, I thought that was so weird until the end.
Yeah. I was like, what was that thing? What was it? But and it's very strange that, like, it must have been a thing of we can get rid of him if we need to, because it feels like
they nearly do.
They nearly do, and then there's the sequence like when he flies the plane. There's a guy in the plane. I'm like, surely you could have written around for that guy to have flown the plane in general. Just
it's weird. Like, why was he in there? Did you just need somebody to fly it in case?
Yeah, it's it's not a great gag. It's there's some weird little offshoots, and I think maybe a victim of script rewrites and stuff. That there's some things in there that don't quite make sense. But yeah, I appreciate it. I think the kid, for what he is in this movie, is
annoying.
Yeah,
it's not annoying at all. It's just like, I get what you're doing. It's just not hitting.
Yeah. He has a few good lines. His interaction with Indy when he's fixing the car is very the tuk-tuk is very fun.
The tuk-tuk with the bubble gum and like, no, it's gonna work. Trust me.
Yeah, all very sweet, but not really necessary in the grand scheme of it. But the end of the movie, Indy's back home, and it's very, very sweet. I love
it.
Like, I think Elena, she's like you could have changed time, and he's like, what's so wrong with that? And it's like there's so many like cheeky Harrison Ford lines.
It's like he's thought about this before the dial.
Yeah,
he's been thinking about time travel stuff. What's been going on in his life?
Yeah, totally. He was like, no, this is my time. Leave me alone. But
I did realize while talking about it, it's a very Henry Jones Sr. like death. Like he got shot the same way.
That's true. Yeah.
There's no cup to save him.
Yep, that's a good point. I mean, I'm sure a good homage to that moment. I think it's very sweet that Marion comes in at the end. We got news that she might have originally been in Spielberg's cut a little bit longer, more involved in the film, but I don't know. I think I'm happy with what we got.
It works really well. And it's when she says, "Are you?" It's like, oh, okay, that's. I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's straight to the heart, man. Like, you know, I had a little weep when I saw the original Raiders font pop up at the start of the movie. I was like, that got me. But
I still think I do agree with my friend Jordan on this, that it would have been funny as hell to have it on him asleep on the recliner.
Like, the logo comes up there. Yeah,
that would have been great.
That would have been very fun. Dive listening, man, sleeping couch.
It's a very sweet ending. I love it.
It's very sweet, and it's one of those things where, like, if you think it's a bit too tropey, it's like, remember, this is it. This is the last time we'll see those characters. Did you? Did you want a death, or did you want something really nice to remember your friends by? Tears both times when she says, "Where does it hurt?" or he does.
That's what got me. That's what got me. Like, seeing her didn't get me. It was the "where does it hurt" that got me. Yeah, because that's such an inconsequential thing. In Raiders, like, you forget about it, then you're like,
how dare you?
Yeah, go away.
It's so sweet. I'm never one for easy fan wanky stuff, but I think in that moment, you know, it's very plausible that that's a moment the two of them have held on to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They think they just saved the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah. Like, that's going to be a important thing to them forever.
Totally. So I like it. It's almost like their little code. And then I when I saw it before I knew how poorly it was going to do at the cinema, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, Helena and Sulla series? Sure.
Oh, that would have been so good. I do love them walking off to get ice cream and John Rhys Davies just immediately going into show tunes. Yeah. Because that's one of my favorite things about Sulla. Yeah. Is he's just always belting show tunes for some reason.
Very loudly.
It was great.
It's very funny. I mean, it was the same one from Raiders as well, which was a very sweet bit. Yeah, I love it. I love the hat grab at the end as well. I like it. Yeah. The perfect. I think someone on Twitter was kind of like, it's the end that we'll ever see, but like it almost is like, oh, they're gonna go on adventures to just enjoy the world together.
Yeah, they don't need to actually go on adventures. They're probably just going to travel.
They're going to be tourists. They're going
to be elderly people on cruises for the next 12 years.
Yeah, which I'll take that Disney Plus series. I'll have it.
Yeah, that'd be great. But it's just Indy and Marion in a really dodgy cruise.
Yeah, and that's when the guy comes back. The captain is in that.
That's what Jock is. He's expanded from Tiki Bar to Cruise Empire.
He owns P&O. And it's going to be great. I'm keen for that.
It's going to be beautiful.
But I love it. I know you had a couple of notes. Is there anything we didn't touch upon?
Other than I think it's really funny, Mads Mikkelsen got belted with a stop sign and has shows no scarring.
Yeah. And it's weird because his reveal scene, he's kind of two-facing it. It's like a half.
Yeah.
He's going to turn around. He's going to have scarring and shit, and it's going to be.
No, he's just fine.
No, he's fine.
I guess that's one of the other things is how quickly they drop the FBI stuff.
Yeah.
There's an entire thing in this how the FBI is trying to get. Well, they're not trying to get. They're trying to help him.
Yes.
Get the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah. And
it's just dropped.
It's gone. Yeah, I think it's one of those plot points that I'm like, you could have just not had it, if anything.
Yeah, this FBI chick did not need to be here.
No,
this is weird. It could have just been Mads and his gang of cronies.
Yeah, it's very odd. It's a strange. I can't even think of a touchstone that they were trying to hit of an indie formula thing. I think it was just a bit of modern film cramming too much in. But yeah, he gets a good hit from that fucking stop sign.
Oh yeah, honestly, I would have expected the head to just sever.
Yeah, totally.
That is that kind of hit.
Yeah.
And it's
no, he's fine.
How are you back?
He's totally fine, and this film is totally fine. I think it sits nicely at 4.
It's a very strong 3.5 kind of deal.
Yeah,
because it's so close, so close. It's just the action that kind of lets it down.
Yeah. And I don't know why when I saw it the second time I was kind of maybe it tops something, but it's just it would if the original 3 weren't the best films of all time. If one of them was a bit shit, it would easily hit there. But it's just they're very good movies.
Yeah.
It's hard to move any of them, but I'm just happy that we got a fun final adventure for our hero.
Yeah, it's a better send off than he got in Star Wars, that's for sure.
Oh, that's on him. He made that happen.
I know he made that happen, but that still sits weird with me.
Yeah,
I know he didn't. I know that's it feels the right thing to do.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it still just feels like this is how it's happening.
This is the end of Han Solo.
A simple saber wound?
Yeah. Oh, it's a shame.
I feel like he should have blown up or something. That feels like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, rather than pushing him off the edge, let's talk about Force Awakens. He should have stuck around. He should have been the one, detonating the bomb.
Yeah, he should have detonated it, yeah.
That's so true. That would have been great.
And then we could have had a really cool one-off comic where Indiana Jones finds the Millennium Falcon crashed in a tree. I hate that that's real.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
I hate that that's real.
It's real. I still want Star Wars one day to end up on Earth. I think that'd be very funny.
It would be.
I think that'd be very cool.
Yeah.
But we're not talking
Dial of Destiny, very good. Loved
good.
it. I can't recommend it enough.
No. Please
it's given me reason to talk about Indiana Jones for weeks.
It's given me reason to fucking buy Indiana Jones stuff again. But
oh well, hey, if you need some help,
far out.
I just keep it on my desk now.
The medallion, yeah, that's pretty. Well, it's easy to find. Don't keep it away from heat.
No, I don't want to burn my hand on this.
No.
That'd be embarrassing.
My tote action figure didn't come with the burnt hand. I'm
For real?
Pissed off. Yeah,
it's meant to.
I know, but now in Will brain, I'm like, well, if I buy another one can be melting and one can be doing the thing. So
see, the problem with that is you've got the Ark now, but you're missing one of the. You're missing the German soldier.
German dude. Because Hasbro are afraid of making Nazis, which is fair, but also
they have to put it on shelves in Walmart and stuff, so it makes sense.
I get it, but also my shelf is missing so many, and It's okay. It's okay. Hopefully this podcast makes people go see the movie.
Go see it.
Then they makes them buy the action figures, and then we get Mola Ram. Maybe.
Oh, if we get Mola Ram, I'm done.
We're done no matter what. Please give us the subs and the likes and all the places to etto.card.co. That's where all of our links live. Where can they find you, sir?
You guys can find me on Twitter at milkplease68. Used to be the funny number.
Yeah.
But I said some interesting things to an AI artist and got in trouble, and they wiped my original account.
Sucks, man. Sucks. You get hacked. Your Star Trek gets hacked, and then you take down your Twitter account.
Don't remind me of next man. That's so sad.
Fucking hell. It's been a wild time.
Yeah. But yeah, please go see Indiana Jones. Give it another $1, please.
Please, yeah, at least one. Go check it out, please. Until the next time, I've been Will.
I've been Milk.
That's how he's been.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Have fun.